I looked at my friends with the most silly and detached look I could muster. They were choking back tears. I had to comfort them while thinking about how itchy my head was from the stupid bandage. But I have no other choice. I had brought myself to a dead end, and my only option was to choose the blue pill instead of the red pill to create my own matrix and live in it. Yes, I'm not as brave as Neo, but my circumstances are worse. Hi, my name is Stella, and I want to tell you all about the fails that make me pretend to have amnesia. It all started when I finally decided to do it on Valentine's Day. It's easier to conquer Everest, win a duel with Voldemort, and even win a trophy in the Triwizard Tournament than confessing my love to a guy. Oh, I've had a crush on Chris for a year, but he only sees me as a friend who he can go bowling with or chill while watching TV shows. But I wasn't okay with that at all, because just looking at Chris, my knees would start to shake and my palms would sweat. All I could think about was how great our dates would be. After he kissed me goodbye on the cheek once instead of a hug, I decided that was the signal. I signed Chris's Valentine's card and put it in his mailbox. The excitement kept me up all night. I imagined us holding hands in the schoolways and then even standing at the altar and vowing to love each other forever. But I was in for a real bummer. No, it was a disaster. A brick falling on my head would have been less painful than Chris's words, "Stella, I'm sorry, but I only see you as a friend." I think Chris was sorry himself. Ha! Did you believe that? I tricked you. I was saving myself as best as I could. You did? He was clearly surprised. Of course. I thought I was lying pretty convincingly. But at the moment, my face looked like a juicy tomato. And Chris knew I was lying. But he couldn't say anything else. He just avoided me for a few days because he must have been very uncomfortable to be around. I didn't cry over Hachiko the way I wept over my unrequited love. I was very sad without Chris and his stupid jokes. My best friend Bree noticed that I wasn't myself. She invited me to a party at a classmate's house. "Come on, you need to get out and have some fun." Bree hugged me and smiled. "I don't feel like it." "I won't take no for an answer. I'll pick you up at 8. That same night, Bree and I were dancing and partying our hearts out. But my good mood faded away the second I saw Chris slow dancing with some girl. What the hell is that? Jealousy struck me like a bolt of lightning, and it made me completely lose my mind. The only thought that pulsed in my head was destroyed. I wondered for some time how I could make that chick run away from the party in tears. I decided the easiest way would be to get her clothes dirty. I grabbed a glass of punch, walked towards the girl, but someone accidentally bumped into me. And the next second, I was face down in the cake. "Oh no! My cake! My masterpiece!" There was a hysterical scream. As it turned out, it was my classmate's sister who had been working on this cake for 5 hours. And now she was screaming and crying. All eyes were on her and my messed up face. Well, it's not a big deal. It's not a disaster. It's the end of the world. I caught Chris's surprised look. He'd never want to go out with me after that. Okay, don't panic. I'm gonna walk out of this party like a proud doe and everything will be fine. But it wasn't. I managed to trip and fall over the garland. Only Chris and Bree came running up to me. The rest of them stood there laughing. Oh no, I was the embarrassment of the evening. Everyone will remember the idiot Stella for the rest of their lives who fell face first into the cake and tripped over the garland. They'll tell their children and then their grandchildren. I couldn't stand the embarrassment, so I ran home, hoping that everyone will forget about it over the weekend. But no! At school, they pointed fingers at me, they laughed and made fun of me. Someone even jokingly threw a brownie in my face. I had to eat lunch in the school hallway. "Stella, don't pay any attention to those jerks. They'll forget as soon as someone else screws up." Bree reassured me. "No one can beat this embarrassment of the century." Just think about Stinky Bob and try remember why they started calling him that. That was only a month ago. What am I supposed to do? Put up with this nightmare for a month? I even dropped my sandwich. I didn't like my friend's attitude, so I decided not to wait. I was going to prank or set somebody up so the stigma of being a loser would go to that person. I went to Bree for help, but she turned me down saying that I was acting like a child. Oh, is that so? She must have forgotten how she didn't make it to the bathroom in 5th grade and then she spent a week pretending to be sick so she wouldn't have to go to school. No one even noticed except for me that it happened to her. I covered for her then, and now she refuses to do the same? Well, then I don't even have to look for a prank victim. I made a deal with this nerd that he would kiss Bree in front of everyone. Trust me, even standing next to him is embarrassing. And if he kisses someone, no one will ever forget it. I paid him $50 and he caught Bree in front of all her classmates, kissed her and said, "Well, how much longer can we hide our love, honey?" Bree felt so ashamed that she immediately ran out of the classroom to the loud laughter of her classmates. I was instantly forgotten as they turned their attention to Bree and the nerd. She didn't understand how he could do such a thing. And then the nerd must have ratted me out and told her everything.
What did I ever do to you, Stella? Why?
Bree was wiping away her tears. It wasn't until that moment that I realized how mean I'd been to my best friend. I apologized to her over and over again, but Bree didn't want to hear it. And that's how I lost my other friend. Neither Chris nor Bree ever texted me or invited me anywhere, so I had to hang out at school during the day and in my room at night. I was also terribly sad about everything that had happened. Even Joffrey from Game of Thrones wasn't as nasty compared to me. I had to get my friends back somehow, but how? Chris is afraid of my feelings and Bree doesn't want to know me. I thought long and hard about what to do, and then the most brilliant idea popped into my head. Why don't I pretend I've lost my memory? That way, I would be free from all of my problems, my friends would feel sorry for me and start hanging out with me again. I had to skip a few days of school to realize the idea, and then showed up to class with a bandage on my head. "Stella, what happened to you?" Chris came up to me right away. "What happened to your head?" Bree didn't stay away either. "Who are you?" I played dumb. All I remember is something heavy falling on my head. Chris and Bree looked at each other and then they hugged me. They didn't seem to understand. Now we are back to the beginning of my story. They were very upset and couldn't hold back their tears. I was just dreaming of finally removing the bandage so I could scratch my head properly. "We'll help you get your memory back," Chris said. And then he gave me a big, tight hug. And I think I fell even more in love with him. First, we went to the arcade where we used to hang out with Chris and play air hockey. But I pretended that I didn't remember what the game was and started throwing the puck around like a frisbee. This led to hitting Chris right in the face. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." I ran up to him. "It's okay, I'll teach you how to play." He was so attentive to me, caring, I couldn't help but admire him. And then I decided to kiss him. "What are you doing?" Chris was amazed. I'm sorry, I thought you and I were a couple." I pretended to be terribly embarrassed and sad. "No, we've always been friends. But it's not a big deal, don't worry." Chris hugged me. And then Bree joined us. She took me to this place on the beach where we used to sit and share secrets with each other. She was so hopeful that I would remember everything. And so I adamantly pretended I didn't understand. Then Chris and Bree teamed up and started showing me pictures and tell me what had happened on this or that day. "Stella, do you at least remember your last birthday? We brought a pony to your house as a joke," Bree asked. "Ponies are cool, but I don't remember anything." Bree suddenly cried, and Chris looked at me regretfully. Meanwhile, at school, the haters left me and even Bree alone. After all, I had outdone all of my fails over the past year with my amnesia. It was even good for my grades. The teachers were giving me good grades out of pity. Life was like a fairy tale. My friends were there for me, my classmates forgot all about me, and I was able to straighten out all my bad grades. And everything would have been fine if my homeroom teacher hadn't contacted my parents to make sure I wasn't having a hard time at school. And that's how they found out about my pseudo-amnesia. And when I went home with Chris and Bree, they made a huge scene because they couldn't stand any lies.
You lied to us?
Bree took 2 steps away from me.
Stella, how could you?
Chris shook his head in disappointment.
Why would you start lying to everyone?
My parents got involved in the argument. I got dizzy. I was so full of lies. I didn't know how to get out of it.
I'm sorry!
I cried out, and I covered my face with my hands.
I lost you, Chris, and then I lost you, Bree. A lot of it was because of my own stupidity. I was so sick and lonely that I decided to lie. I thought that was the only way I could get you back, and it worked. You forgave me with everything.
Stella, I wasn't mad at you. I just needed time to think it over, said Chris. I would have forgiven you anyway, Bree added. But now I don't even know how to communicate with you.
Please don't be mad at me. I was desperate.
My legs couldn't hold me, and I fell to my knees. My friends picked me up and hugged me, telling me not to do such crazy things again. And I realized that all problems can be overcome by solving them, not by running away cowardly, and that you shouldn't lie to the people closest to you. And since then, I've never lied to anyone again. Have you had fails that you'd like to forget about? Tell us in the comments, like and share the video with your friends. Let as many people as possible see it. See it.